You know that soul-crushing squelch when your foot hits carpet that's supposed to be desert dry bone at 5:47 a.m.? That primal alarm that says your slice of the California dream just became someone else's drainage ditch? Yeah, that hit me like a freight train in Willow Creek Foothills Estates. The exclusive Southern California enclave where every blade of approved xeriscape grass is measured with a ruler, and the HOA president Karen Whitaker runs the place like it's her personal kingdom of beige stucco and passive-aggressive fines. I stood at the top of the basement stairs in my robe, flashlight beam cutting through the gloom, staring at what used to be my man cave. 3 inches of cold, earthy brown sludge lapped against the baseboards, soaking my prized collection of 1970s vinyl and creeping dangerously close to the frame of my painstakingly restored 1972 Harley Sportster. The smell wasn't clean tap water. It was wet mulch, rotting leaves, and pure entitlement. I'd lived here 8 years without a drop in the basement. Perfect grading, French drains, the works. Until last night. Rubber boots on, I sloshed downstairs and traced the water to the back wall facing the common slope. It was pouring through the window like a malicious waterfall. Upstairs, coffee forgotten, I grabbed my phone and stepped into the gray dawn drizzle. What I saw out back made my blood boil hotter than the Santa Ana winds. Where the natural slope used to funnel runoff neatly toward the community retention basin, there was now a fresh, ugly scar, a crudely dug trench lined with compacted clay, acting like a bobsled run that caught every drop from the 3 lots above and slammed it straight at my foundation. Tire tracks from a heavy-duty truck chewed up the turf. Shovel marks fresh as a crime scene. This wasn't Mother Nature. This was premeditated. Security footage from 2:15 a.m. confirmed it. A white pickup with no plates visible at first, 2 guys with shovels, and a bobcat operator working fast under headlamps. But the money shot. Karen Whitaker herself, standing in her pastel blazer and pearls, arms crossed, pointing exactly where to dig, directing the flow away from the community tennis courts that had been puddling after last week's atmospheric river. I didn't sleep. I paced, shop vac humming downstairs, rage-fueling black coffee until 9 a.m. sharp. Marched straight to the clubhouse where Karen held court behind a desk plastered with Community First plaques. She looked up with that tight, condescending smile she reserves for peasants who let their succulents grow a millimeter too tall. "Ryan, darling, we performed an emergency drainage mitigation to protect shared assets," she said, folding her hands like a Sunday school teacher. "The tennis courts serve everyone. Your lot is at the bottom of the hill. Perhaps you should have invested in better waterproofing before purchasing." I kept my voice level, though my fists were white. "Mitigation? You weaponized common ground to turn my basement into your personal sump pump. That's illegal diversion, Karen. California Water Code Section 1102 doesn't give you a free pass to play God with runoff." She waved a manicured hand. "Article 4.3 of our CC&RS is very clear. Community assets take precedence for the greater good. Individual lots handle their own maintenance." End of discussion. That was the switch. If she'd apologized, offered to fix it, maybe we'd have talked. But blaming my house for existing? No. I walked out without another word, because anything I said next would have been recorded for her next fine. The next 3 days were hell. Water hit 4 inches. Shop vac died. I hauled soggy records upstairs by the crate, wrapped motorcycle parts in plastic like a surgeon, slipped in slime while the rain kept coming. Insurance adjuster took one look at the trench and whistled. "This isn't an act of God, buddy. This is an act of Karen. Man-made diversion. Claim might get denied or subrogated. Either way, you're holding the bag for cleanup." So I held the bag, tore out drywall, ripped carpet, hauled moldy trash to the curb while my resolve turned to concrete. I needed proof that would survive court. That's when I hired Dr. Elias Voss, civil engineer, forensic hydrologist, the guy whose reports make insurance lawyers weep. He showed up in a dusty Tacoma, tripod over one shoulder, face like weathered granite. Walked the property in silence, took laser levels, soil probes, then poured neon green dye into the trench uphill. 15 minutes later the dye was oozing through my foundation wall on camera. Dr. Voss chewed his unlit cigar and said, "They didn't just divert water. They accelerated it, created hydrostatic pressure no standard residential slab can handle. Full report in 48 hours, 62 pages, topo maps, velocity calcs. Proper fix, regrade, commercial French drain to municipal storm sewer. Exterior waterproofing, interior restoration, is $95,000 minimum. And every page will scream negligent. I smiled for the first time in days. That number wasn't going on my credit card. It was going straight to Karen's legacy. I spent the week knocking on doors. Turned out the neighbors on either side had soggy yards and softening foundations too. They were scared silent until I showed the video and the report. By the monthly HOA meeting, the clubhouse was standing room only. Karen sat at the head table, beaming at the turnout, clueless she was presiding over her own funeral. She droned through the agenda: summer barbecue, new pickleball nets, then opened the floor. I stood, holding the bound report like a smoking gun. Karen, this isn't about my basement anymore. This is about an unauthorized, unpermitted modification of common ground that caused nearly $100,000 in damages. And yes, I have video of you personally directing your nephew's crew at 2 a.m. Gasps rippled. Karen turned purple. You're out of order. This is slander. We acted within emergency powers under Article 4.3. Funny you mention the bylaws, I cut in, voice carrying to the back. Because Article 9.1 requires competitive bidding for any common area work over $500. Article 11.2 prohibits alterations that cause detriment to adjacent properties. And Article 7.1 makes board members personally liable for willful negligence. Dr. Voss's report proves exactly that, plus the truck traces to Whitaker Landscaping Solutions. Your nephew. Right. The room went dead silent. Board members flipped through the report, eyes widening at the die photos, the license plate close-up, the legal citations. One quiet guy named Steve finally spoke. Karen, did you really bypass bids for family? She sputtered, banged her little gavel, but the damage was done. The fear of lawsuits and skyrocketing dues hit them like a flash flood. Next day the cease and desist letter arrived, classic bully move. My attorney Sarah, a real estate shark, fired back with a 47-page response attaching everything and a draft lawsuit naming Karen personally for piercing the corporate veil. 7 days to settle or we file. Day 6, emergency executive session. No Karen. Steve did the talking, voice shaking. We had no idea about the conflict of interest. We'll cover everything: regrade, French drain, waterproofing, full interior restoration including the vinyl and motorcycle parts. $95,000 check. Sarah leaned forward. One more condition. Karen's immediate resignation and a full audit of every vendor contract for 5 years. Or we file tomorrow. They didn't even hesitate. Threw her under the bus, so fast her pearls probably spun. By morning an email blasted the community. Karen Whitaker has resigned for personal reasons. Major drainage improvements begin immediately. 2 weeks later the excavators rolled in, tearing out her sloppy trench, installing a proper system that could handle a monsoon. My backyard became golf course perfect, paid for by HOA reserves. Basement? Better than new, luxury vinyl plank, recessed lighting, dehumidifier humming softly. The real win. The neighborhood woke up. Attendance at meetings tripled. New board actually listened. The audit exposed years of Whitaker family contracts. Karen still lives here, walking her yappy little dog past my house every evening. She glances at the flawless slope, the dry basement lights glowing through the windows, and quickly looks away. I just nod once, polite as bylaws require, then go back to polishing my Harley. Because sometimes the sweetest sound isn't revenge, it's the quiet drip of karma finally draining in the right direction. So tell me folks, was Karen just protecting the community like she claimed, or did she finally get exactly what the bylaws she worshipped demanded? When an HOA turns your home into collateral damage, who really deserves the flood of consequences? Drop your own HOA horror stories below. Let's talk about where greater good ends and straight-up tyranny begins. If this tale of one report burying a backyard tyrant made you smile, smash that like button, subscribe, and share with anyone trapped under their own neighborhood dictator. Sometimes all it takes is one homeowner who refuses to stay silent. Keep your powder dry and your basement drier.